Community. Diane?
I'm Patty Habercorn, and I'm the director at Futures Unlimited. I decided to join on just Diane and I are kind of working together with the ROSC stuff as far as what's going on and what we can offer. And sometimes Diane has a lot on her plate, so I'm hoping to pick up some of the slack. And otherwise, I'll let Diane introduce herself.
I am Diane Hodgson. I'm at Futures Unlimited, and I am a service facilitator intake coordinator.
Thank you both. Tracy?
I'm Tracy Wolf. I'm a social worker with the Boys and Girls Club of Livingston County.
Caitlin and Shayla?
Hi, I'm Caitlin Chagoya. I work at IHR as a substance use prevention specialist. I primarily work with the 4th and 5th graders, and I co-chair our Operation Snowball along with Shayla.
Hi, I'm Shayla. So I teach the substance use prevention to the junior high kids in Livingston County, so 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Thank you. Baea?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Baea Kola. I'm Community Outreach Coordinator with Statewide ROSC.
Yep.
Good morning. I'm Deb Beckman with the Statewide ROSC team. I am a Community Recovery Systems Specialist. Good morning.
Good morning. Tim, how are you today? You're on mute, Tim.
It does that. I'm Tim Jenkins. I'm the Director of Behavioral Health for Futures Unlimited. I support the Behavioral Health Center team. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you for being here. Caroline?
Hi, everyone. I'm Caroline. I'm the case manager at the Salvation Army Pontiac 360 Life Center.
Thank you. Dell?
My name's Dell. I work with the Veterans Treatment Court. We cover McLean County, Livingston, Logan, Ford, and Woodford County.
Thank you for joining us today. Taylor?
Hello, I'm Taylor Hartman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Mental Health Board as well as the Youth Commission in town.
Thank you. And Carol?
Hi, I'm Carol Timms. I'm with Health Alliance as a community liaison.
And I can't really read the name. Getchell? Shannon. There we go.
I am Shannon, and I am with Heartland Head Start. I am our parent-child educator for in-home education.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. Lena?
Hi, I'm Lena. I'm the family resource advocate for Heartland Head Start here in Pontiac.
Perfect. Rhonda?
She put something in the chat. Rhonda works at IHR. She is part of our crisis team. She is a peer support specialist, and she also, her and I and Becky, who's not on this call, run a family support group for those with family members or friends with substance use or mental health issues.
Thank you. Welcome, Rhonda. Melissa?
Morning, guys, or afternoon, I should say. I am from LifeSil, and I'm the community living advocate. We assist people with disabilities.
Thank you. Sandra, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm driving, so I can't put my camera on, but I'm Sandra Beecher. I'm the Senior Professional Relations Manager for Gateway Foundation out of Bloomington, Springfield, Peoria, Jacksonville, and glad to be here.
Absolutely, Sandra. It's glad to have you again. Be safe out
Thank
there.
you.
Lauren?
I'm Lauren with Safe Journeys. We provide services to victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. Did we miss anyone? I don't believe so. So Autumn has a great program for us today, and we'll have her kick that off.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Gonna start my slideshow. So So excited everybody is here today. There are quite a few faces that are new. We are so glad to have you. Just want to emphasize that. So for today's meeting, we're going to give you a little bit of an update on some of the current projects that the Livingston County ROSC has been working on that many of you are familiar with. And then we have two special guest speakers that are going to talk about a couple different but very important topics for Livingston County. So we want to start with an update. So the Livingston County ROSC, as many of you know, was conducting a community survey. So our community survey was looking to gauge what are the levels of need and what are people's awareness of services and supports related to mental health and substance use. So this survey, we distributed it out from beginning of December up until February 1st. And we were able, thanks to the support of the council and everyone on this call, we were able to get 136 respondents. And so that is absolutely wonderful. That is great data for us to have. And we do know as well that some paper copies of the surveys were being distributed at different agencies. So if you have any completed paper surveys, if you would be able to make arrangements and get those to John as soon as possible, once we get both our printed surveys along with our digital surveys in, we will then get to analyze the data. And so next month's council meeting in March, we're going to take a deep dive into the findings, see what we found, and that will allow us to inform some of the strategies that we have as a ROSC and some of the things that we can focus on. And then the other topic that we are working on is our resource map. And so this was a comprehensive list of services related to mental health, substance use, youth supports, and community supports that are available in Livingston County. And so thanks to everyone on the council and people on this call, we have a very comprehensive list of services and supports. And this is a document that we want it to be used and we want it to be a service to the community. And so it was sent out in our email last week for a meeting reminder. And it's going to be a document we continue to update. So if your agency has updates to its services, its location, or we know of new services that are available that we want to include, please make sure you reach out to myself, John, or you can just email us at the Livingston County ROSC Gmail, and we will update that document. And every time we update it, we will change the date. And we plan to periodically send it out to the council just so the resource is available. And now, in case you have this resource and you want to share it and you want to get it into the hands of the community, we've created a simple way to do this. So the way you can access this at any point is through our virtual resource guide. So this is something for people who have been with us a little longer. We've demoed before in the past, and it's a digital platform where we have all of our ROSC services as well as community resources that are available related to recovery. So if anyone would like to access it, you can quickly scan the QR code and you could save it to your phone as an app that you can click with one button. Or here's our website. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click this link and I'm going to show you guys what this looks like and real quick where you can find the resource if you would like to share. And so give me one moment. I'm going to pull that up for us. Okay. So by clicking the link, you'll get to our virtual resource guide and you'll scroll down on our first page and we have a few of our important documents related to our community assessment, our strategic plan. Most of these are the ones we're continuing to work to update this current year. But if you go to the bottom of this first section, you'll find our fiscal year 25 Livingston County ROSC Community Resource Map. So you can click the link and it'll appear right here. And you have the option if you would like to download the document. And it's as simple as that. And we hope it could be an easy and accessible resource to the community. And again, as we make updates to this document, we will update this on our resource guide as well. And so related to our community survey and our resource map, does anybody have any questions so far that came up or anything they'd like to share about either of those? Okay, so we will keep going. And so what we would like to do next is we're going to launch a quick Slido poll. And so what we want to know is what are some ways that we can promote those available services that are in our community? And we'll find out more in detail once we analyze our survey results, but we'll find out how much of a gap there is in people's knowledge of what is available for them. And so what this will do, if you guys can either on a work phone or a cell phone, you can scan the QR code that's in the top left corner, or you can go to slido.com, type it in your web browser, and you'll enter the code 1719530. And then you can anonymously share your responses. So we're just going to take a couple minutes and we're going to generate some ideas. And so you can think on a personal level, you can think for your agency. If you have a specific service or resource that you think needs to be more promoted that's in the community, feel free to add it. We're going to take a few minutes and brainstorm together as a group. Yeah, social media posts. Social media is a great platform to get out resources, pass out with food pantry items, send to the school to share with families, credible testimonies from community members, continued communication and promote on Facebook, local sporting events and churches, social group presentations, posts in public places, partnering with high traffic locations, places people might be sitting and waiting. Yep, attending community events and being present throughout the community at different locations. You already rock this. Thank you. It's the thank you to the council as a whole, schools, Facebook, and we all share, and then community events, making continuous updates to the resource map. These are excellent suggestions. If anyone else, we'll wait just a couple more seconds. If anyone else has anything to share. But these are wonderful. We are able to keep note of all of these responses. And then this will be part of our continued conversation is with this resource map and other available resources, how can we continue to get this resource out and use these ideas? So yeah, show bus and taxi, courthouse. Excellent. Thank you guys all so much for these ideas. And yes, we're very excited for this. And so I've gotten to talk a little bit, but we're really excited because today we have a couple of guest speakers with us. We're going to talk about some very important topics going on in our community. And so first off, our guest speaker is going to be Teresa Deemer, and she's going to talk to us about transportation and Uber and Lyft possibilities to serve Livingston County. And so, Teresa, do you have a screen you need to share, or?
No, I'm not that
Take it
fancy.
away.
Not that fancy.
Take it away. Thank you.
So one of the things, and somehow I don't know how I got this task, but it's been interesting. So I think it was just a couple of meetings ago, we were looking at like Lyft and Uber, and I want to actually take a step back and talk about Showbus. So I think most everyone on the call is aware that like Showbus is not really like running its normal cycle. So I was not aware of that until a month or so ago. And then apparently the city of Pontiac was not aware of that until like maybe in the last week or two when I've been talking to them. them. So in case you aren't aware, apparently there was the contract was between McLean County and Livingston County, and McLean County decided to pull out of that contract, and then Showbus wanted Livingston County to pick up the whole contract. Livingston County is not doing that. So therefore, I think the only thing that is happening is if somebody has like their Medicare or Medicaid or anything that might cover it, it is still going around, but only for like set appointments that the person schedules. So that's one update I had.
Teresa, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, tell me.
That information is not exactly correct.
Okay, tell me, because that's what I was told today.
The county is working on working with Ford County, I believe, to get Showbus working here again. And hopefully it's better than what it was before. But McLean County did, they are not, it was a grant and they were in charge of the grant. And they decided not to do that for Livingston. So now Livingston is in charge of the grant and bringing Ford County into that. So, but it's not fully up finished yet. It should be within, I think the last I heard, they're hoping sometime this month yet. So
great. I knew that there were a couple other counties trying to start something, but that piece I wasn't as aware of. So thank you for that update. That's very helpful. And I'll circle back to the city to let them know that as well. So in the midst of all of this, there's always been this rumor that the city doesn't allow Uber or Lyft here and that they control the taxi hours. So I've spoken to somebody on the city council and they say that's not true. So I took some time, I think it was Monday morning, with Uber and Lyft. Uber, I had a little bit of a struggle with. They couldn't understand that I just wanted to ask if our area was covered. And the lady just kept insisting on signing me up to either drive or ride. And so that made me think that possibly Uber is available in our area. I know there's DoorDash. So that one is kind of out there. Lyft was a little bit easier. I finally just went through my app and messaged somebody, and the gentleman's like, yes, your area is covered for Lyft. So with that information, then I circled back to my contact on the city council and just to verify if one of our agencies decided to throw it out there like, hey, need a little extra cash, sign up for Uber and Lyft. Let's help the people in our community. And they said that there's nothing that the city needs to know about with that. So that could be moved forward on if somebody's interested in like posting something or if anyone's interested in starting the driving and see how it goes. And that's about all I have on that.
Thank you for the update, Teresa. And I think it goes to show this is a problem that we're working currently on finding a solution for, kind of building the plane as it's flying, trying to get those solutions. Many people are working to figure out a solution, as we can see. And we don't, just per Melissa's question in the chat, we don't have one specific agency that's directly working on transportation issues. Is that correct? I mean, Showbus has been a provider, but there's now one agency charged with transportation supports.
That's
Is that
correct.
something anyone can speak to?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
I know OSF is not on this call, and I think all this came up at our equity meeting with the county or the I-Plan meeting, and Gibson has like a fleet of buses and things like that. And so Claire from OSF, and I don't believe she's on the call, she was going to look into that a little bit more. And she said that they just have a bunch of grants for that. She's not a grant writer, so she had that information, and I'm not sure. We were just kind of passing each other at another event. So that's kind of still out there as well. I don't know if that's something OSF would take on or not, because you have to go way up the chain and communicate with the high ups in Peoria for that kind of transportation.
Teresa, if I can interrupt for a minute, and I'm probably not going to share all of this totally accurately, but I'm not sure OSF is going to pursue that. But what Futures is pursuing is the potential to provide transportation for people that are either Medicaid and eventually Medicare. And outside of our transportation that we provide for the people served by Futures. So I don't have a name for our program yet. I can't give you a time frame when we were going to try to get this up and running, but our CFO sits on the Region 6 Transportation Committee, and I can't remember the acronym for it, but anyway, she's part of that. Again, we recognize it because a lot of the people we serve struggle with transportation needs. So we might be able to help with some of these problems. I mean, we're not going to be the total answer, but we can hopefully put a dent in part of the problem eventually. I would think within the next couple of months, we should have it at least started. May not be a perfect solution just yet, but if it's successful, and we can find more drivers, because that is an issue, that could be at least part of an answer to their problem.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Thank you, Patty. Eric, I have a quick question, if you don't mind. Was Iroquois County originally in those talks, or they're no longer in the talks, or does that even make a difference?
Yes, Iroquois County was originally in the talks. I believe that Iroquois County pulled out for some reason. I am not exactly sure what the reason was. Okay. But as far as I know, they are not in the talks anymore.
Okay. And if I remember correctly, the person from OSF that Teresa referred to did speak at the iPlan meeting about Gibson Area Hospital providing some transportation. They did get a grant for 9 vans that they do have located, and they will bring people and pick up people in specific areas. But geographically, I really don't know what that means, because specific areas could be very broad, could be very narrow. I don't know that for sure, but I know there was some talks of transportation within Livingston County to Ford County services, or I'm sorry, to the Gibson Area Hospital and their clinics. I don't know if that is something that's set by the Gibson Area Hospital itself or its clinics, or if their transportation is broader than that. I think it's a little broader than that, but no specific details. But I know that was brought up a little earlier as well. So.
I know I had a former client that was like calling me, and she was in the transportation with Gibson from Gibson to Pontiac. So I mean, I know they will come this way, but again, that doesn't really resolve our in-county services.
Yeah. Well, I want to just acknowledge the fact that with a collaborative council like this, we can see that there's many agencies and many people who are working towards solutions, and this is what it takes to be able to find those solutions. And I'm thankful that this conversation is happening, because I think no matter what service area we're in, we are seeing that transportation need, and we are seeing that as a barrier to people's care. But we're also seeing that there are agencies and people who are working towards this. And I want to point out in the chat, Dell shared that Tazewell and Woodford County have a system of transportation, and specifically it looks like there serves senior citizens and those with disabilities, but just shared a resource if we're looking for something that could be a model that Livingston County can learn from. Good resource. I save that in my browser as well to follow back on. Does anyone else have anything they would like to share on this topic of transportation? Well, thank you very much, Teresa, for speaking on this. And I know it's a very heavy, important topic, so thank you for taking the lead on this for us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so we have one more person who will be speaking to us, just giving an update on housing in Livingston County, and it is going to be Caroline from Salvation Army. So Caroline, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. I'm sure we've all seen the community needs assessment that came through, that the city of Pontiac recently collected some information. I am sending the results in the chat, so if you want to click on that link and check it out, you can. The first section is all about housing, and most people that filled out that survey agree that housing needs to be safer, more available, inadequate here in Livingston County, especially Pontiac. I don't think that's a surprise to any of us. As for updates, I do know that the Livingston County Housing Authority is working on selling their Chatsworth property, and that came with a lot of confusion. They are relocating a lot of those people to different places within the county. And I believe that that's been going on for a few months now, and I think it's been pretty successful. I haven't had anybody come to us in a worried about it or needing assistance for it. So that's good. But I think that the housing authority's goal is to either buy or build more property here in Pontiac to suit the needs of this city. I don't have any good news to report, unfortunately. We saw 228 homeless people total in 2024 that we came in contact with. I want to give a caveat to those numbers. That is people who, that's not all at once. That's total that I've talked to throughout the whole year of 2024. So that can be people that are temporarily homeless, you know, recently evicted, trying to find a new place to live. It counts people that we may have sent to other areas. One of the things that we offer as a service, since there is no homeless shelter here, is we try to get them to a safe location where they maybe have a support system. So we send them via Amtrak, Greyhound, things like that. And it also counts the people that are chronically homeless. So people that you might see walking down the street every day. There are a few of those here, unfortunately. In 2025, we've come into contact with 12 individuals that are homeless, and that does include some crossover from 2024. So it's not 12 new people, fortunately, but 12 people we have already come in contact with in 2025. One of the more alarming things that happened this week was we get funding from FEMA, the Emergency Food and Shelter Program, and that is intended to help with the homelessness problem. We use that money to pay for hotels. It can be used for rent, but since we have plenty of rent funding from the state of Illinois through homeless prevention, we use these EFSP funds to put people up in hotels to shelter them temporarily. We were about to enter phase 42 and get some more funding sent to us. We haven't had the funding in quite a while because we ran out. It's about $13,000 a year, which doesn't last very long when hotels are about $600 a week. However, the meeting that was scheduled for yesterday to introduce phase 42 was canceled indefinitely. I can only guess that that is because of the uncertainty of what's going to happen with FEMA. And it's kind of a big hit for our organization and our community because we are literally the only place that shelters people temporarily. And with no shelter and no hotel funding, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. It's kind of a scary time to receive funding from, you know, the federal government, but that is my update on housing. I'm sorry it's not more upbeat. I wish it was.
No, we appreciate the honesty. We want to see the real thing, hear the real need. So we appreciate you sharing that. Does anyone have any questions for Caroline or anything they'd like to share on the topic of housing?
Just wanted to clarify the number. You said you counted 225 homeless?
228, and that
28,
includes
and that's in the
women and
county.
children as well. Men, women, and children.
And that's in the county?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Is that number also including individuals that reside at the Fiesta?
Yes. And it is not the total people that live at the Fiesta. We only count if we are contacted by these people specifically. So sometimes people do come to us from the Fiesta, and I will count them as homeless.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one for Caroline. I know we've talked about in previous meetings, like the definition of homeless. Does that also include maybe students who don't have a consistent place to sleep at night? Was that included in that number, or that's something handled by a different agency?
Nope. I mean, we don't see a lot of children individually. We don't know a lot of those numbers. We anticipate that the numbers in the county are much higher than what we're seeing because we're limited to when these people contact us or we specifically know about them. So an adult would have to tell us if their children are homeless. The way that we consider people homeless is if they're lacking adequate or safe housing. So that can mean that people are considered homeless if they are two families living in one household meant for one family. It can mean people living at the Fiesta because that is not adequate housing. It can mean people that are literally outside. It is a pretty broad definition. So to answer your question, some of those children, yes, are counted, but the whole total is not. And that is probably counted better within the school district.
And Caitlin, if anything, I would say Project Oz will have numbers on housing instability for youth, but they will only have those who have reached out for services. So if someone has contently moved to grandma's, they're obviously not going to be counted.
And Caitlin, this isn't directly related to your question, but I know Pontiac High School, they obviously have that free food. They have like 2 free meals a day, but they also know the students that have more of a need. And so they will like privately come and pick up like a bag of food for the day. So they have a whole system with that, which I know isn't quite related to the housing, but they're definitely taking steps to help those kids that they know don't have food.
And I know even the Boys and Girls Club, I think, has said that they have multiple, like, I don't remember the last number we got from the Youth Commission, but like several students and families that will receive meals from the Boys and Girls Club, like dinners from the Boys and Girls Club as well. So it's awesome to hear that there are agencies already stepping up to meet at least a decent portion of that need.
Yeah, I always feel very confident that children are going to get better taken care of, especially within the school system. I know that the row probably has the most information on how many children are homeless. I think that they had a total of 600 total children experiencing homelessness within a few different counties, and I think that included McLean, Livingston, Ford, and I can't remember what other county the row takes care of. Yeah. And they do a lot to combat that and provide them with a lot of resources. I know that they had I think this is a McLean County social worker, but she will like make packs of needed household items like detergent, paper towels, things that you can't buy on your SNAP, and deliver them specifically to those households that are struggling.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing, Caroline, and great to hear of other resources that are working to address not just housing, food insecurity, the instability that some people may be facing, and some people that we're not fully aware of. So I appreciate you speaking on this, and yes, thank you for just representing and speaking on this topic so well.
Thank you.
So I'm going to move back to our agenda or our PowerPoint slides. So the next portion, we're going to open the floor, and this is just going to be community updates. And so if you, or agency updates, so if you have something you specifically would like to share about your organization, your agency, if you're new to the call, maybe a little bit about what you do and what your services are. If there's things you'd like the general counsel to be aware of, this is your time to speak. And so feel free to unmute, or you can raise your hand to your Zoom hand as well, and we'll just go one by one.
I have one. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I have headphones and I never know if I connected them correctly. Tech is not my thing.
I understand.
Yeah, so I shared in the chat, but I work with Brightpoint, and I work specifically with what we were calling the Butterfly Project, which is now Brightpoint's mental health and wellness. It's kind of confusing because there's a lot of programs under the mental health and wellness realm, but just due to like agency requirements and things like that, I won't get into it. They just like won't let us have our own name. And so we've created new like program flyers. We actually created a brochure that gives like more detailed information and things like that. And we're going to be doing some community outreach, just like going around the community and like making sure we drop off and like distribute these like flyers and things like that. I'm actually in charge of Livingston County. So if there's anyone who would like to have these program flyers, brochures, and things like that dropped off directly to you, I'll put my email in the chat and you can just like let me know what you would like and things like that. And then I can make sure I get those dropped off to you. So again, like our services cover Livingston, Ford, Logan, McLean, and Woodford. And so all of our information is on that for everything because our services are the same for all 5 counties. And we work with children and families that are exposed to domestic violence. So if you feel like this is something that's good to have in your space or you make referrals for this type of service, like I said, I'll put my chat or my email in the chat and then you can reach out to me. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Abby. And did you say there's a link or a website online if we can download any of these flyers, or are they just by request?
No, I can email them to you. So if like somebody wants me to email them and they want to print them themselves, like that's fine. But if not, like I said, we're hitting the town. We're going to all 5 counties and we're trying to drop everything off as much as we can and just make sure that everything's updated and posted out. So I'll just put my email in the chat, and if you want me just to, and I can send them to you and John too to make sure they go out with your minutes as well.
Thank you. That'd be great. We would love to have that.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Excellent. Who would like to go next?
I feel like everybody hears from IHR too much, but we're still here. We're the Community Mental Health Resource Counseling Center, substance use, mental health, psychiatric, mediation. I know prevention's on here, the family support groups, and we also have a 24-hour crisis. I shared this at the social service meeting yesterday that substance use and DUIs, we can get you in probably within the next week or two. Mental health, we have a bit of a waiting list still, but thank you, Taylor, wherever you are. Taylor was able to help us out to start. The executive director and I are doing 2 to 3 like 2-hour sessions a month to, I'm sorry, 2 to 3 2-hour sessions a month to kind of help those on the waiting list. So everyone that calls in is told about this, and we're going back through the older waiting list to reach out to them and send letters that we do have some brief supportive therapy that we can continue to meet with them until they get in with a more permanent therapist.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that, Teresa. IHR is a great resource in our community, so we're thankful for you and the work you guys are doing. Anyone else who would like to go next? Even if you've been on the council for a while, we do have some newer faces. And so even if you want to share a little bit more about your agency or the services you provide, this would be a great time.
I'll go, Autumn.
Thanks, Melissa.
I'm Melissa from Lifesill. I'm the community living advocate. And one thing I know a lot of you share our equipment loan program in that. We are going to try to work something out. I will be out the end of March, so I just want to let you guys be aware of that, to make sure if you are sharing about our program to have them call the office first to make sure someone's here, because I don't know that someone will be here all the days that I'm gone. And I know some of you were not at the meeting yesterday for you to be able to know that. And for those of you who are new, we assist people with disabilities. We have the ITAC program, which is the amplified phones for those who have trouble with hearing or are deaf. And then we also have the low vision program, which I believe assists people 55 and older. However, if there is someone that has an issue that is younger than that, they can still get in touch with us. We may be able to assist them or get them to where they can get some assistance. And then the equipment loan program is huge. That keeps me fairly busy on a daily basis. But we do have a lot of people being sent here with some items that we cannot take, so maybe I will share that with you guys. Um, we usually don't take anything that's electrical, so while it sounds great that someone wants to donate their motorized scooter, what we can do is if they um have something printed out or whatever, we could hang it on a window so that someone knows that they have it, whether they're giving it away or if they want to sell it or whatnot. We will post that for people, but we cannot take the item, sadly. A lot of times we do have a connection that we have them call that helps throughout the state, and so sometimes maybe they can come get it. But that is one that we get a few calls for. And then we can't take like oxygen tanks or hosing, um, stuff like that. It's mainly what we take are walkers, the seated walkers, wheelchairs, transport chairs, the commodes, I'm trying to think, canes, crutches, real basic stuff that I can actually like wipe up when you bring it back most generally because I'm back there cleaning it when it not right when it comes back. Sometimes I get a pile in on an evening. I take an hour out of my evening and clean it all on one of the nights I stay here later. But those items are so appreciated. There are times where I literally have no commodes here. Wheelchairs can be gone. Knee scooters are huge. If you guys get people that want to give away knee scooters, send them to me because those suckers go out like hotcakes. Um, I'm trying to think what else we go through. I don't have a lot of, I have a lot of walkers with wheels, and I've been getting more people that need the walkers that don't have wheels on them. So if you ever see someone with one of those, we won't hesitate to take that either. But yeah, the equipment loan is so big. And then another thing, if you're dealing with whether their private pay or their insurance would pay, or they get assistance through doors and they're looking for a PA or some people call them an in-home health aide. I um I do that program. I'm actually the PA coordinator. So I have well they can call Bloomington or here for that, but someone can get them the referral list. So you can pass our number along to that consumer and they can call and we can get them a referral list so that they can find in-home help. Is there any questions? I don't know who's all new on here because everyone I can see on my side is people I know. So I didn't know if anyone would have any questions. I can always answer. Thank you, Autumn.
Sorry, couldn't click the mute button. Thank you, Melissa. That was all really great information and good to know how we can support your agency as well and what are the needs. Anyone else who would like to share?
Yeah, I'll do a quick. Sorry. So I'm Del Sam with the Veterans Treatment Court. I work out in McLean County here, but we do cover Livingston County, and so we work with veterans that have a nonviolent crime. So it's typically like a DUI, it might be domestics, it might be some assaults. Um, we take some gun charges and stuff like that too. So if we, so like if they have a gun on them, they don't have their concealed carry or they don't have FOI, that'd be a felony gun charge. Something like that would come into our program. Something like armed robbery would absolutely not come into our program. But we work with the VA to provide substance use, mental health issues, treat for PTSD, traumas, different things like that. And if they complete their program, then our case gets dismissed. So that's what we do with veterans in your community. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. That's a wonderful resource and wonderful that you guys serve that target population. So thank you, Del. We do have about 15 more minutes, so if anyone does want to share, we do have a window of time. And just keep note, anyone who has shared so far, and Melissa, if you want to add your email in the chat, go ahead. Take note if there's people you do want to contact. if no one else has anything, I will wrap up with just the rest of our meeting.
Hey, Autumn, it's Sandra
Yeah.
Beecher. I just
Hi,
wanted
thank you
to
so much.
add, I know I try not to promote services here in Bloomington because I know IHR has such a wide variety of services. And I know one of the things that I wanted to add, if needed, on trying to find, just the gaps in service. But if anybody needs like a virtual SUD component or services, we do that out of our Springfield location. Like if somebody just cannot get to services, that they don't have a driver's license or anything like that, we can do levels of care at Gateway virtually.
Excellent. Thank you for letting us know. I know as we were talking, transportation can be a barrier. So that's a great
Right.
resource to know. And so feel free if you want to add your email or website in the chat just for reference.
Okay.
We'll take note of that in the minutes, and everything that people shared. We'll include the information in the minutes as well if you do want to reference back. So thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I'd be happy to jump in real quick if we've got some extra time.
Yeah, go right
Again,
ahead.
thank you. Again, my name is Tim Jenkins. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor, the director of behavioral health at Futures Unlimited. We have created a behavioral health clinic, community behavioral health clinic, in which we serve the population of Livingston County. Our focus for a long time has been on developmental delay and neurodevelopmental disorders. And while we have special training and experience at helping folks with that, it's not necessarily a specific requirement to receive services in our program. We have a group of counselors growing rapidly, but right now just 4 counselors in our programming. And we don't have exclusionary criteria as far as substance use goes, but our primary focus is mental health. If we have a duly diagnosed person, but mental health is primary, we can still treat that person. Thank you to RHR for being such a wonderful resource in the community for substance use, as well as the other resources and ROSC resources that you folks have for substance use. We're open for business, so if we can help folks in the community that have mental health disorders, feel free to give us a call. We'd be happy to help. And access to the program is directly through either our main telephone number at Futures, which is 815-482-1122, or directly to the Behavioral Health Center at 815-842-1912. We have 24-hour coverage, so in the event we do have a crisis, although we don't yet have a mobile crisis team, we do have a telephone crisis response that we can do, and we can get folks scheduled relatively quickly to receive outpatient counseling services. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for sharing all that, Tim. We greatly appreciate it. And we will take note of the emergency crisis line and the numbers that you shared as well in the minutes. And then I do real quick want to highlight in the chat, Lena Bankert from Heartland Head Start shared that they're looking for events that families may attend to do some recruitment for their preschool, early Head Start, and home-based programs. And again, if Lena or Shannon, if you want to speak on it, come off mute, go ahead. But if not, we'll put your information in the minutes as well. So thank you for sharing that.
I can talk on that a little bit. One of the things that we're looking for is activities that are either low cost or free that might be available for our families. Also, events that Lena and I can come to and offer information on our programs. We have a really great preschool program for ages 3 to 5. We also have a preschool program or educational program for our 0 to 3s. And then we also have the home-based program where I go into the home and offer education, support, anything I can give them that will help make their lives just a little bit easier is always helpful.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And as you were speaking, one thing that did come to mind is the ROSC Council hosts an annual Recovery Month event in the fall of each year. And we'll have more information soon confirming dates and locations. But the purpose of that is to be an event that is family friendly and recovery friendly. And so last year had a ton of activities and food for children and families. And we're hoping to have a really good turnout this year, but just knowing background of Head Start, I think it's something that we would probably be, at least for the ROSC, a really good resource we can promote. And so we'll keep you in the loop when we have more information on that.
Shannon and Lena, I put my email in the chat, and we can send you the events list that we have so far for the year, and how that will be, and how you can help be involved in that. And then with our resource, our Educating for Change and our Recovery and Action subcommittees, which we have on the third Wednesday of each month, the fourth Wednesday of each month, you're welcome to attend those as well. And they're usually held at the Livingston County Health Department. And we have we have a calendar of upcoming events, and we can link together. So the events that you may be at, we could join, that we are at, you could join, and we'd be happy to work together with you on that in targeting your population, because that's what we do with one another. We're always helping each other. That's what the ROSC is a great deal about, is getting us all engaged with one another within all the communities, no matter if it's Pontiac, Dwight, or Flanagan, or Strawn, or whatever it might be. So happy to help with that any way we can.
Thank you. We appreciate that very much.
Thank you for sharing.
I did want to say there's grants available through the Prairie Community Foundation. They go up to $10,000, and and their spring grants are open here, like all the way up to February 28th. So you've got a little bit of time to apply for them. And I know, like, the arts and music stuff like that, if you're talking about stuff to do with kids, like, they love supporting kids' art projects and stuff like that, things like that you guys want to do. So that gets you a little bit of funding to host an event.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Del. Great resource. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Well, thank you. I learned a lot about some resources available, so very exciting. And I'm just going to wrap up with a couple more housekeeping items, and you will be out of here by 1 o'clock. So the ROSC is always wanting to promote just continuing education and just ways that you can grow in awareness of substance use, mental health, harm reduction, and recovery topics. And so the Center for Community Engagement at Chestnut Health Systems hosts ongoing learning collaboratives, which are online webinars. And coming up February 26th, they will have a free virtual webinar, and it'll be talking about harm reduction and the community perspective. And so if you need continuing education credits, those are pending approval. And if you're interested in registering for the class, you can go to coalitionsupport.org/trainings and register for all of our upcoming trainings. Or you can real quickly scan this QR code, but these are free trainings and very knowledgeable speakers on each of these topics. And so we encourage you, if you do have the time set aside, to listen. They also record their trainings, so you can go back and archive different trainings they've done before if you're interested in a particular topic.
Do those have limited capacity, or if we register and don't attend, is that okay?
Yeah, if you register and don't attend, they'll send you a follow-up, I'm pretty sure, with like the link where you can watch the video recording. And Carrie, if I'm incorrect, please correct me. I know you work on that project as well.
Yes, what you've said is correct, Autumn. There's no limitations, Taylor, and you're always welcome to be added to the email distribution list for coalition support, and all of the video recordings are added to the website in the coming weeks.
Perfect. And then one more training we do like to promote. We've spoken on this a couple of months ago at our council meeting, but people who are part of the ROSC and who are part of Chestnut Health Systems, we have people certified in instructing in both youth and adult mental health first aid courses. So if your agency or is interested in providing this training for either the people they serve, the general community, or your staff, these are things that you can contact me and we can make arrangements for. So I'm certified to teach youth mental health first aid. We have another staff certified for adult. Those are two separate courses, so unfortunately we can't kind of combine them into one, even though that'd be helpful. And then the general cost is $30 per person, and this will include your learning materials for the day. And these can be offered in person or virtually. So if a virtual option was considered, it would have about 2 hours of pre-work the individual would do before attending the course. And if it's in person, you can choose an option where there is a little bit of pre-work, which cuts down on the in-person teaching time. Or you can choose to do a 1 full day, 8-hour course, which won't require people to come in for trainings or do any work beforehand. And it's a very practical, very tangible course. And so if you're interested, you can shoot me an email and we're happy to connect and arrange some opportunities for this. And then lastly, a couple notes. Our March meeting will be Thursday, March 6th from 12 to 1 via Zoom. So we meet the first Thursday of each month unless there's a holiday that interferes. And if that were the case, we would make sure you know ahead of time. And then, of course, and we love these, we do quarterly in-person meetings. So our next meeting will be coming up Thursday, April 3rd. And we're still confirming the location and the time. We do know it'll be probably before the lunchtime because that works with more people's availability. But as soon as that detail is solidified, we will make sure that each of you know. And then lastly, feel free to follow us on social media. We aim to keep our social media up to date as much as possible, and we are very big on sharing resources for the services and supports that are happening in the community. So if you ever have posts or events you want us to help promote, you can feel free to just let us know, and we're happy to do that. And then again, you can scan our virtual resource guide if you want to have access to resources and things that people shared on this meeting. If there's things you'd like us to add to our resource guide, please just send us an email and we're happy to include it. And then we have our email contact information for our team. And thank you all for your time. We're thankful for your support, your collaboration, and taking the time out to join us today. You guys enjoy the rest of your day and have a good weekend.
Thank you all.
Everybody.
Here, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.